From Commander 17th Coast Guard District to Drew Herman, Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Can I pick it up for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
please come up. Oh, that was on the next page. Drew could not be with us this evening. Would Kodiak member Susan Neymar please come forward and accept the award? Subject, Lieutenant Commander Christopher G. Hans, Auxiliary Innovation Award. I take great pleasure in presenting you the Lieutenant Commander Christopher G. Hans Auxiliary Innovation Award for outstanding achievement in developing, planning, and executing revolutionary ideas that enhance and better support the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary. While acting as Assistant District Staff Officer for Public Affairs and Kodiak Flotilla Staff Officer for Public Affairs, you demonstrated extraordinary innovation and teamwork in the development and implementation of Deck Watch, a joint Coast Guard active duty and auxiliary radio show. When you discovered the D17 External Affairs Office shared your interest in a Coast Guard radio show, you led the way, helping to draft the original proposal for this groundbreaking initiative. From the early stages of development, you were instrumental in the show's success by performing such crucial tasks as formatting the production, composing the intro and transitional music, and creating the logo. By spending countless hours learning the GarageBand software, you were able to quickly teach the process of composing the show's audio tracks to other staff members. Your efforts made a significant contribution to the professional sound of the show. On 26 of the first 35 shows, you took part in one or more aspects of the program's development, from assembling the segments to recording news and features, and finally posting it on the D17 blog. You also produced 9 outstanding features, including interviews with local auxiliary members, the harbor master, a Navy veteran, and the Commandant of the Coast Guard. Since the show first aired in March 2010, it has grown to include 3 radio stations, KMXT in Kodiak, KYUK in Bethel, KCHU in Unalaska, a potential audience of over 35,000 people. Your efforts to make continuous improvements are admirable, such as your proposal to generate a written column in a local newspaper based on the radio show, which could substantially increase public exposure to this inspirational program. Through your vision, innovation, and teamwork, you helped make this creative initiative a reality and have earned this prestigious award. Your dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are keeping the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary. Christopher C. Colvin, Rear Admiral, U.S. Coast Guard, Commander, 17th Coast Guard. Is the BMC David T. Borg Professional Auxiliary Coxswain Award. It is presented to Jim Richards, U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Jim could not be with us this evening. Would the Homer Flotilla Commander, Terry Youngblood, please come forward to accept the award? I take great pleasure in presenting you the BMC David T. Borg Professional Auxiliary Coxswain Award for outstanding achievement in operational support of the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary. You are cited for outstanding achievement as the premier auxiliary coxswain of the 17th Coast Guard District for 2010. During this period, you professionally operated Auxiliary Operational Facility 255001 in a variety of demanding missions. You expertly conducted 8 search and rescue cases, assisting 15 people in distress, and protecting over $52,000 in property. While participating in 54 operational missions, you dedicated 99 hours as coxswain and 112 hours as crewman, far exceeding expectations. Your extraordinary leadership and coxswain skills were highlighted during several challenging missions. On August 1st, 2010, you and your crew responded to an agency request for assistance from law enforcement officials in Seldovia, Alaska, to recover and transport a 54-year-old female with a broken ankle on the beach 4 miles outside of Seldovia. Upon arrival on scene, you quickly realized that you could not safely recover the woman due to shallow water and rocky shoreline. You overcame this obstacle by returning to Seldovia and coordinating with the local LE officers and emergency medical service personnel to use one of their small skiffs to follow you back to the scene. Once the skiff made its way to the beach and recovered the injured woman and another person, you and your crew escorted them safely back to Seldovia. Through your adept seamanship skills, superb leadership, and operational excellence, you have exemplified the traits of a professional coxswain and earned this prestigious award. I commend you for your dynamic leadership as the Premier Auxiliary Coxswain for 2010. Your dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are highly commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary. Christopher C. Colvin, Rear Admiral, U.S. Coast Guard, Commander, 72 Coast Guard District. Pat Kennedy Memorial Award. The recipient of the Pat Kennedy Memorial Award is presented each year in recognition of exemplary performance as Flotilla Commander, and is presented to Bob Huff of the Kodiak Flotilla. Now, those of you that were at our lunch yesterday know that the Flotilla Meritorious Achievement Award for 2010. The Flotilla Meritorious Achievement Award is presented on a calendar year basis to the flotilla with the highest average of activity per member. The Director of Auxiliary and the District Commodore are deciding officials for the flotilla's Meritorious Achievement Award. Activity in all major areas are included in the determination of the award recipient, including but not limited to operations, public education, vessel safety exams, public affairs, recruitment, and training. The Director compiles flotilla activity information from the annual Aux Data, Aux Info summary sheets, and then divides the activity by the number of members in that particular flotilla. The Perpetual Award is a full-size wooden paddle with engraved plaques for each year's recipients. A miniature paddle with plaque is also presented. Citation to accompany the award of the Coast Guard Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal. To Commodore Marie Scholey, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Marie Scholey is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as the 17th Coast Guard District Auxiliary Commodore from January 2009 to December 2010. During this period, she spearheaded a comprehensive D17 Auxiliary Strategic Plan focusing on recruiting, retention, training, and outreach, greatly enhancing auxiliary support to the voting public and the Coast Guard. Under her exemplary leadership, and despite the slow economy, membership flourished with a 6% increase and attained an enrollment of 476 for the first time in D17 history. Likewise, her emphasis on operational readiness and prevention resulted in 9 lives saved, 199 persons assisted, and a record-setting 2,350 vessel safety checks. Commodore Scholey's strong commitment to leadership and mentoring resulted in notable accomplishments. She recognized D17 past Commodores in a moving ceremony at the 2009 District Conference, as she ensured leadership instruction was at the forefront of major training events, and issued a challenge to senior leaders to mentor potential successors. These activities and others resulted in the election of over 50% first-time leaders to fill flotilla commander and vice commander positions, providing an excellent foundation for future success. By vigorously promoting perseverance and teamwork, Commodore Scholey propelled D17's Arctic and rural outreach initiatives to new heights in effectiveness and visibility. During her tenure, 15 auxiliary volunteers spent 49 days promoting water and boating safety to over 2,000 children and adults in 43 rural villages, including a historic 850-mile round trip to 8 villages along the Yukon River. Always the visionary, she empowered members to lead through innovation, resulting in several successful member-driven initiatives, including an aggressive district-wide marketing strategy, which revitalized advertising for flotilla services, recruiting new members, and providing public safety messages. Through her volunteer service, commitment, and leadership, she made a tremendous impact on the advancement of the auxiliary goals in D17. Commodore Sholey's dedication and devotion to duty are most highly commended and are keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary. And now, the 2010 District 17 Auxiliaries of the Year. For outstanding accomplishment and contributions to the District 17, this award is presented to Gene Butler, Juneau. Thank you, Admiral and Commodore. You may be seated. This concludes the awards portion of our program. At this time, I would like to ask our District 17